Quote, Cooper and I are interested in hearing where the best spot is for us. We have no idea yet. Hashtag waiting. Come get him. Thomas then responded, I hear Cleveland is nice this time of year. That is, if you like to have a statue one day. Coach, where do you think the best fit would be for Kirk Cousins?
I like Cleveland for Kirk Cousins, and here's why. If he wants to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and he truly believes in his heart of heart that he's a franchise quarterback, there's no better place to go than to Cleveland and to change what's happened there. And they're in a situation from a cap space perspective where they can pay him what he's looking for. They can be in that range. They've got some good young receivers. Josh Gordon, if that continues to work out, he's got a really dynamic receiver. And then you've got those two high draft picks that you can dramatically change, impact players on offense if that's what you want to do. Plus, they committed to the offensive line last year. There's a lot of good things that he could do there.
Now, Coach, you're one of the people you're one of our regular guests on the show, but you have been kind of a proponent of the Cleveland job for a quarterback. You always talk about force multiplier. You're saying, listen, if you're that guy, if you're commanding that type of salary, go to Cleveland. There is a lot of things in Cleveland. Now, you have your own personal experience there in Cleveland, but you believe that the right guy can get it turned around there.
100%. To me, being a great head coach, part of that is having a great quarterback. It helps you along the line, and we've seen it time and time again. Bill Belichick was in Cleveland. He had one winning season in 5 years. He goes to New England. He's got a good quarterback. That whole narrative changes. So my suggestion or my feeling on this is, Kirk, if this is who you believe you are, and you want to be compensated like that, you can go and totally change the trajectory of a franchise, which to me is what you'd want as an athlete.
That reminds me of basketball, of all these coaches who want to be the guy to turn around the Knicks, right? How many guys are going to be the guy and have the statue and get them back to where they were in the 60s, and so many people have failed. I get it. You got Hugh Jackson, and if they sign Kirk Cousins, it would allow them to spend those other 2 first-round picks on more young personnel to put around him. All that makes sense. But if it's me, I go west to Arizona. Larry Fitzgerald's coming back. David Johnson didn't play basically last year because of a wrist thing, so you have one of the elite running backs who can run it and can catch it out of the backfield. You're playing indoors, and if there's one thing that's maybe a flaw in keeping Kirk Cousins in the discussion of the elite quarterbacks, arm strength, but arm strength not an issue when you play indoors. If it's me, I go there. Plus, you have a new regime there, and so you know who your head coach is going to be for the next couple of years. If you go to Denver, Vance Joseph nearly got fired this year. If you go to Cleveland, they nearly got blown out this year as well. So if things don't go well in your first year, you're still going to be stable with head coach. I like the Arizona job because of the surrounding pieces and because you're playing indoors. And you're going to get paid.
If Kirk goes there and plays well, that head coach is going to be there for a long time. If Kirk goes anywhere and plays poorly with that type of salary, whoever the head coach is, he's leaving pretty soon.
I appreciate what you're saying, Doug, about the ability to probably win more consistently and faster in Arizona. But I really like where the coach is going with this, because to me, I see Cleveland as akin to like a startup. Right? So it's almost a blank slate of sorts. It's got some good parts for sure, but it totally needs that one key component. And if Kirk Cousins really believes he's that dude, if you think you're that good, if you think that you're that transformational of a quarterback, he has the wide open opportunity to be a real game changer.
Right.
There.
And also you have to go to the economics. Which team can afford him if he wants to be the highest paid quarterback, which I believe might be fairly important to him. He's been franchised at the $22, $23 million the last 2 years. So we know what the asking price is going to be, at least $25 million. Cleveland might be one of the few places that he can get that. But before I go to Cleveland, I need to holler at Joe Thomas. Joe, you told the people you don't know if you're coming back next year. Or how long you going to be protecting me? How am I going to get a statue if you're not playing? Now, you're going to be there another 3 years, Joe? Like, if you can guarantee me that, the probability of me coming to Cleveland are going to be a lot better. Joe Thomas is probably one of the most underrated, great players that we have ever seen play this game. And he spent his whole career playing in Cleveland. To me, I need to get some type of insurance, if I am Kirk Cousins, outside of that money, that Joe Thomas is going to be protecting me and protecting my backside like Kirk Cousins is protecting his little boy right there. And I'm not going to Cleveland without that. I don't care if they say they're going to use the top pick on a left tackle. I need Joe Thomas.
You need some assurance.
So where would you go?
If I'm going to Minnesota.
Shocking.
Is that biased, Chris Carter?
It's not biased because they have cap space. They have a defense They play indoors. They got two better receivers that mentally and physically more stable.
And they got Dalvin Cook coming back off injury.
I mean, so you talk about Arizona. Minnesota is Arizona plus. That ability to be able to play inside. Now, the only thing that I'll disagree with you on your Kirk Cousins, Kirk's anticipation is so good, and when you don't have great arm strength, you got Joe Montana. The reason why he was so good, anticipation. You need to put him in the West Coast offense, and I believe that you won't see that in Washington. Man, Kirk Cousins throws the ball all over the field because of anticipation and his football IQ. He's the first guy in the building, last guy to leave, and I just believe that Minnesota with that defense, because even if you're off, you're in the game. You don't have to go out there and try to win it week after week. And listen, I like Cleveland. I like the potential. But you know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about the beast in Baltimore that's won a couple Super Bowls, and I'm worried about the team that won 6 Super Bowls in Pittsburgh. So you're going against them in your division. So the ability to have success there is a lot harder.
Look, going to Minnesota is a great situation because of that defense. To me, there are a lot of fantastic pieces in Minnesota. You got continuity with the coaching staff in terms of the head coach, and there's discipline, and they've been able to win through adversity. To me, that shows great things from an organizational perspective. I agree with all the things you're saying. I just would like to see him try to be that transformational player. You know, you add Jimmy Garoppolo to San Francisco, and suddenly they win a bunch of games. I mean, it's amazing.
That's a startup.
Okay, so
startup
insert a quarterback.
Yeah, but I don't think Cleveland is a startup. Cleveland is one of the kind of classic franchises that used to be and that is constantly.
You calling them Kmart?
Well, Kmart, the J.C. Penney's, the Sears is where the rest of the world has kind of evolved, and they need a new CEO to come in and advance into the 21st century. Yeah. Here's my question. I understand that what he wants to show and how he's going to be paid. How good is he actually?
Well, that's the answer, or that's the question. Yeah. If he is as good as he feels that he is.
No, that wasn't my question. And you think he threw him 4,900 yards 2 years ago, right? Or 4,000 last year.
When we were talking about A.J. McCarron, we broke the quarterbacks down into 3 different categories. We had A.J. McCarron. If he was a starter, he would be in the bottom half. Yeah. Kirk Cousins would be smack right there in the middle. Right. And some days, Kirk Cousins is elite. But when he drifts back down, he's in the middle of the NFL and going to have you in plenty enough good position to win a lot of games because you don't have to babysit and try to hide the quarterback.
And when I looked at Kirk Cousins for a while, when he first started, I thought, can he win in the fourth quarter? Can he bring a team back? And I didn't know whether he could, and I got the sense that was a problem. But then when you actually go look at his body of work and you spend time reviewing it, he's got a bunch of fourth quarter comebacks. He's got a bunch of successful 2-minute drives. To me, he's shown that he's been able to perform in the clutch based off of what he's done so far.
Why did Washington never buy into him? Like that's always my remember when Matt Flynn was with the Green Bay Packers, right? And Matt Flynn became a free agent, and Joe Philbin goes down to Miami. And Joe Philbin did not bring Matt Flynn, his backup, to be his starter in Miami. To me, that was all the alarms I needed. Because if you work with a guy every day, you know if he's got it. And if you're not going to bring him, you say, why did Jay Gruden not lay down stand up on one of these tables and say, we need to sign these guys? Why did it not work out in Washington?
They gave him $45 million in the last 2 years.
I understand, but there's some sort of disconnect between the franchise and Kirk Cousins, to which there was never truly buy-in to Kirk Cousins being good enough to be their quarterback. Right? They went and got Alex Smith, who's just above average, gets you to the playoffs, and we know who Alex Smith is.
Alex Smith is not a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins, and they got Alex Smith at a number that is suitable to them going forward. Okay, so they were not comfortable giving Kirk Cousins $100 million.
But why did San Diego move on from Drew Brees? You know, why did Tampa Bay move on from Steve Young? Sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes you think that you're going to get better. And look, it happens throughout the world. It happens in the working environment. It happens with relationships. Sometimes you think it's going to be a little bit better, and then you realize, oh, my God, I had the one.
Yeah, the grass is not always
that guy with the wart on his head, might as well bring him home.
You know what, Coach, despite that comment, please stick around.
He's buying diamonds at Red Bottom.
Next up.